Welcome to today's meet and greet for crazy people. Today we have a very special package of copyright concerns for you. As some people mentioned, it's that one anime opening.
Currently experiencing technical difficulties.
Sorry, I don't know what that was. Anyway, should we risk it and listen to the song? Cool echo there on the piano. Show's voice is very nice in this one. And straight into the chorus, man. Oh. Whoa. Insanely strong atmosphere in this one. I like pretty much everything about this, especially like the sounds. The guitar sound is very warm and what I would refer to in earlier songs as beachy. It kind of reminds me of like a beach vibe. I don't know why. And it combines very well with Show's voice in this case. I cannot imagine this at all being a Yamabi song, to be honest. And it's really nice that they try to push this specific quality of Show. And this chorus is just phenomenal. Like, not just like the technical, how high he sings or whatever. It's also, the atmosphere is so dramatic in this one. Right in the very beginning. This could straight up be the end of the song. The choirs kind of. Little switch up here in the guitar. Drum sound also really nice. Whoa, the violence coming in here. Whoa. That came early, actually. I remember the solo. They have a like weird doubling over his voice. That voice, dude, holy. This is another really good example for a more melodic guitar solo of Shu. Extremely memorable as well, by the way. I remembered every single note of this probably from like years ago pretty much. And just Show's voice, I don't know what to say about this. I think from all the songs in this album, this song seems to be the most tailored actually to his vocal style and qualities. It's also not a very long song. I just wanted to dip into the solo again and stuff. It's just, wow, man. It instantly switches the mood up a bit, right? It's really cool. Wow. How he runs down and then up again with double speed. And the piano. Such a cool transition, love it. You really feel this, man. The violence. Yuki is also doing a phenomenal job here. I love the atmosphere. Whoa. Come on, dude. Drum. Oh, how he ended up alone with his voice. Just wow, dude. Also how they ended up with like the same atmosphere as in the beginning. It's like pretty much the same sound, but they're getting slower and slower. So it's again this music box type of feel it has to it. There was also a lot of awesome stuff in the end. And this, like I mentioned in the very beginning, the drums just have this very hard hitting sound in this song, which wasn't the case in the earlier songs. At least it wasn't as notable. That's like a very fitting choice with the slower but more impactful hits they had in that little transition there, for example. Very nice dynamic. And just like how this general soundscape is composed, I like how we have on the low end this very thick distorted guitar building the bass of this pretty much, which feels very solid. And then at the top we have all of these violins and stuff having this airy feel to them. You have this union feeling here, which is also very... If you've seen the anime, one of the things I remember the most clearly about this anime is actually the ending song, because just it makes everything which happens in there just that much more dramatic than it already is. And I can actually recommend the anime, it's pretty good. So they really hit a nerve here in this one. You have this feeling of freedom there in the top with the floating violins, but still this heavy feeling here on the bottom. Slowing down here a bit. The atmosphere this also builds. I don't know, to me personally it's always subjective, right? But this especially this feeling with the like intro and outro sound, it has a bit of something a bit ocean themed, right? You're looking at the horizon, but like at the ocean. This is like an element in there, while we had a lot of songs which just had a bit more of this feeling of the album cover here, which were just like in the sky with a like high speed setting, like what you would imagine with a dragon flying here. So it's just very cool that it has this watery element to it as well, which also adds a bit of a reflective layer, of course, which would indicate that it's rather a night theme. I'm also excited for the lyrics, what they're like trying to express here, right? During the edit, I realized it might make sense to make a little comment section here. Chiro has mentioned to the preceding song Save You that Show's vocals are exceptional here and will be for the next song as well, which is A Far Off Distance. The ending of the song is just wow. Shu using the wow of life and death of going into the sparkles / twinkles from Tsuruyuki is very nice. I think that was referring to Save You. Has gotten quite some likes, good job. I totally agree for that song, and I agree for this song as well. As mentioned, Show's vocals are phenomenal in this one. We have anime artists mentioning that, well, while Destinations is low-key their favorite song of the album, also A Far Off Distance seems to be a pretty nice contender for this spot. And then we have just some comments specifically aimed at the preceding song Save You. Our trivia person says that this song can be said to be a song that cannot be completed without Sho as the vocalist. The vocals of Yamabi were like crawling on the ground while being heard and falling. Sho is a beautiful high tone without mixing, and if you compare two people or can say that Yamabi is a warrior and Sho is a superhero. Okay, that's an interesting distinction. So there's always like this talk, especially like who's better, Yamabi or Sho. In regards to this song especially, of course with Save You as well, or with this album in general, it works very well with Sho's vocal qualities, but especially with this song, Far Off Distance, they really like got out those like high tones and everything, which wouldn't have worked with Yamabi. The flow that begins with the song that runs after the intro called Emotions is reminiscent of Whisper in the Red Sky on the second album, and the development of the song is similar to Deep Affection. So we're referring back now to Advance to the Fall, the second album of theirs. As mentioned like earlier in the album, there seems to be some similarities of the structure of the album, Advance to the Fall, and this album seems to be a bit of a callback. Even if the composition of the song is similar because it's the same band, the types of vocals are different, so elements such as sadness and battle make you feel brilliance and respect. So I guess this is like supposed to outline just like how the different vocal styles of Yamabi and Sho actually like have actual different effects within the songs. By the way, the song is the first time in Galneryus an exclamation mark was used in the song title. Is this also because the vocals have changed? Well, yeah, in Save You we have this exclamation mark, that's actually true. Perhaps because there was quite a bit of shouting in the song, so that could be the case. Then there was a bit of takes like Jägerist is, or for example, mentioning that they like Sho's voice more than we have. I don't know how to say that in my language, you would say Perle. I prefer Yamabi mainly because he delivers more authenticity in this performance. There's something about his voice and way of singing that hooks me, similar to Thomas Winkler. Sorry if I don't know who that is. Is that like from any German power metal bands perhaps? Feel free to inform me about this. My second favorite Galneryus song, Angel of Salvation, Sho is probably better than Yamabi, although it is unknown without a cover. And to be honest, that's personally interesting to me as well, because Angel of Salvation is pretty much my favorite song of theirs, and for quite a long time I was wondering like how would this song have sounded like if Yamabi would have sung it. That's like one of the most interesting questions to me actually about this whole affair, because I actually want to listen to a Yamabi version of Angel of Salvation specifically. But yeah, as mentioned, like I have a slight edge to Yamabi, but I think it's actually the style of song which decides which singer is suited more, because they're both pretty good. They're going quite into different directions, I would say. There's this interesting thing with authenticity. Like I get the point here, but I guess if someone would say, well, they think that Sho's voice is more authentic, I would totally get it as well. It's just like how you perceive and define those things, right? So, but I guess what this shows is that there's a lot to get here and there's no clear answer to this. Yeah, and that was just to drop in a few comments. There were a lot more, and I always appreciate your participation and your takes. And I guess now we can get back to my past self, continuing with the lyrics or something. So this is actually a pretty solid mix between English and Japanese. Will be a bit of a hassle, but let's see. A cold, detached gaze. What am I still looking at? Something worth protecting? I won't even hesitate to face loneliness. I won't even spare this body. Even if I rot away, just keep on running. So this is pretty much constructing here a scene, but you can't really tell what it's about at this point because you don't know who has this cold, detached gaze, whose body is meant. Is it their own body or someone else's? Just keep running. So it is somehow about like moving on after something happened. That's for sure. Maybe put this below. What does it say? So far. Oh, and then this is already the chorus. I'm excited. So far away, but I never give up. This is in English. Bonds that can't be broken now. Intertwine with destiny. And then we have English again. I'll get over it. It's now a far off distance. Doing a bit the Eminem here, like stopping in mid-sentence to go to the next line. Yeah, it's about getting over something which seems to be a bit tragic or dramatic, and what is in a far off distance. And this is like important to differentiate, right? It's not very clear what's meant. It could be, especially with Galneryus, I'm gazing into a far distance which is in the future, or something is simply far away. That is something we had during past albums, like longing for someone who is far away but kind of exists. But this seems to be a past event. So this is pretty much about moving on from something, and it's a far off distance behind me, right? It's over and I'm trying not to hesitate. Just keep on running, even if I run away. Doesn't matter. I want to keep going. I don't want to be stopped by what's lying behind already. And this might be why there are these questions here, something worth protecting. This was something which was discussed in like earlier lyrics sometimes, like what even there was to strive for or to protect. And in this case, the question probably implies that it's probably not something worth protecting because it's holding me back and I can't allow myself to do that now. I have to keep moving. I won't even hesitate, right, to face loneliness. Then we have another verse and chorus. Sweet whispers, where are they leading me? Even if I lose my way, there are still fragments of truth. Even if I rot away, just keep on praying. So it's interesting. Okay, so this is also English with this, even if I rot away. That's an interesting way to put it in general. Not sure what's causing this rotting, but yeah, anyway. Sweet whispers. This seems to be a kind of future thing, right? What's leading me ahead are those whispers. I don't know where they're coming from. Perhaps I don't even know what they're saying, but they're leading me somewhere. Even if I lose my way, there are still fragments of truth. That's kind of interesting. I don't really know where I'm going. That's pretty much a theme which we had already in the beginning of the album, where there were a lot of like worries about like how is this gonna go. There's a lot of pressure and stuff, right? I just have to step into the unknown, and even if I lose my way, I can be at least sure there are some things which are probably right, you know? And this is also the thing with the whispers. It's kind of like they're leading you into the darkness. You can kind of follow them, but you don't know where you're going. And just keep on praying. Sure, I guess that's fitting. Another chorus. So far away, but I feel so much love. That's also actually it was translated differently here because the original was, but I feel many loves. Perhaps like an interesting way how like the Japanese transfers into the English in this case. That there's actually plural for love in the original text. And then Japanese here, even on a tomorrow that feels like it might crumble, the pulse of destiny still beats. We're now preparing already for the destiny theme here. Destiny is leading me ahead. I'll get over it. It's now a far off distance. A lot of uncertainty here, but there's not really much chaos. We have a bit of stabilizing and destabilizing dynamics, especially in the guitar solo, but in general, I would say it's rather a very solidly melancholic song. So these are all pretty much reflections. It's not really chaotic or like filled with pressure or anything, or like anxiety filled. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, and the sweet whispers, I think cool how they work with that. We had these very dynamic violins there at the top and the back, which had this airy feel. This is kind of what you could imagine as these whispers, as well as we had some choirs sometimes which were swelling a bit also in the background, right? It's always this thing happening there, so it's really not hard to imagine this whispering theme, which is pretty much all around. And again, we have a lot of choruses. So far away, but I never give up. The bonds that can't be broken now, intertwined with destiny. I get over it, it's now. A far of distance, so far away, but I feel so much love there. Even on a tomorrow that feels like it might crumble, destiny's heartbeat still pulses, leading on to an endless future. And I'll get over it, it's now a far of distance. So we have another line added here. The other ones are just repetitions of what we had so far, but we have this. It's actually pretty cool that they just put this one new line here that has to be solved differently musical as well. I don't quite remember how they did that, but that might have been an interesting transition as well, leading on to an endless future. That's actually also a theme they talked about in the past. I think what I got from it might have been Destinations, I don't quite remember, I guess, where they were trying to outline this, finding this inner source which constantly can construct and generate new things, which is of course very important if you wanna do art, and especially if you wanna like express meaningful things, right? And so this kind of endless future, this kind of Ouroboros aspect, that you can be at least certain that things will keep coming, things will keep going on. This is pretty important at this part of the journey, because you could also assume that you kind of have nowhere to go and there's no path of moving on, and a lot of Galneryus songs deal with this as well, right? So this is a pretty integrating song in that regard, that it kind of tries to incorporate this wisdom which has been acquired into pretty much the same situation, where there is this question, where and how do I keep going? And this is all in English. Everything they're singing together. I believe in my destiny. Everyone knows I'm not ever alone. Tomorrow never dies. I can fly anytime. I have the truth from the past always in my heart. They're solidly putting all of this together. We have the destiny. I believe in my destiny. I'm not ever alone, which is a bit of a comforting thing. Everyone knows also might refer to the other band members, for example. I can get a bit more comfortable in my position because I know I'm supported here. Tomorrow never dies. I can fly anytime. I have the truth from the past always in my heart. So this is an attempt of like integrating whatever lies in the past. I don't want it to hold me back, but I kind of have found a way to still keep it as a memory. And there will always be a tomorrow, and I can fly anytime, right? That's what was discussed in earlier songs. I have the confidence in like my own capacities, and in the future I devote my body because I have a bond. Somebody will respond. Okay, tomorrow never dies. I can fly anytime. Go to the end of life. There's no fear. It is bright. I'm alive. Oh, so this sounds very absolute as well. Go to the end of life. So this almost sounds like, okay, I'm ready. Keep on doing this. Potentially, like if it leads me there, to do this to the end of my life. Interestingly, there's no fear. It's bright, and it's like a positive thing. I'm alive. That as the last line, right? He's like screaming that into the distance. I don't, okay, he's screaming it not that much, but he's kind of like fading out singing this last note. This is a really strong song of theirs, to be honest, like lyrically as well as sound wise. Even if you're not in the mood, it really draws you in, you know? And of course, a very needed contrast to these like upbeat, way more intense and fast songs. Listening to this album so far has also brought quite a lot of memories for me, because yeah, Galneryus is pretty much my favorite band, and it has been for quite a long time, you know. So it's really cool to rediscover these things I had discovered like 10 years ago at this point, or like even earlier. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope it stays online for quite a long time, and yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I'm excited for the next episode. See you then. Bye.